I forget to unmute it. So anyway, so happy Mother's Day. Welcome everybody. I remind myself, is like, don't forget to unmute it when you start, and then I forgot to unmute it. So there we go. But anyway, welcome everybody. How's everyone doing today? Tony, Kathy, Carol, Judy, Tracy. How's everyone doing? Hope everyone is doing well today. Bill, welcome everybody, and happy Mother's Day. It's Sunday. It's kind of a cloudy Sunday, not super warm, but hey, it's a Sunday, so it's all good. But anyway, hopefully everyone's weekend is going well. Hopefully everyone is safe and healthy, and hopefully everyone is good. But anyway, we're going to get into our Mother's Day sermon, and I'm going to do a few kind of repeat the announcement that I did yesterday. So if you heard it yesterday, bear with me, because for anyone who's here today who didn't catch yesterday, we're going to go ahead and repeat that just to make sure everyone is on the same page, everyone is good. So yes, hopefully everyone is fantastic. Warmer than yesterday, yes, warmer than yesterday. And my mom's here too. Mother's Day, and my mom is here in the stream to watch. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. Welcome, and glad you're here. So yes. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into the Mother's Day sermon here. Let's go ahead and get into it. We're actually going to focus on a particular mother in the Bible. On Mother's Day, I like to focus on moms in the Bible. I like to focus on moms in the Bible because there's actually quite a few moms. I mean, there's more focus on men in the Bible, but there are women in the Bible who are focused on, and I want to look at one of the moms who are in the Bible. One of the moms in the Bible, because during the Bible times, during times during the Old Testament, even during the New Testament, it was an honor, basically. It was a symbol of honor to be a mother. Like if you were a mom, it was a great thing. It was something you could actually be proud of. Especially like the more kids you had, the more proud you could be because you gave your husband children. That was what was important back then. That was what people valued back then, was being, if a woman was able to give her husband children, then she was proud. She was happy. That's what, made her happy. And that was what they valued back then. That's just how things were. So we're going to look at a mom who had a little bit of trouble having kids, actually. She had a little bit of trouble having kids. And if you go to 1 Samuel, and you go 1 Samuel chapter 1, and we're starting in verse 3, because we're going to look at Samuel's mom. Yes, we're going to look at Samuel's mom. And she's someone, she doesn't get like a huge amount of attention when we come to moms, but we definitely want to focus on her. We definitely want to focus on her and give her some recognition as far as a mother goes, because she shows traits of a wonderful mother. She shows so many traits of a wonderful mother that I really want to focus on what she does, how she handles what she ends up going through, and what she continues to do afterwards too. It's amazing. It really is. It's a great story. It's a great account of what happened, and this is something I would definitely want to put a lot of emphasis on. So let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 1. And again, if you want to turn there, if you can, if you want to follow along on your own Bible, it will be on the screen. Whatever's easiest for you, feel free. It's 1 Samuel chapter 1, starting in verse 3. And if we go there, this is what we read. It says, "Year after year, this man went up from his town to worship and sacrifice to the Lord Almighty at Shiloh, where Hophni and Phinehas, the two sons of Eli, were priests of the Lord." And this man is actually Samuel's father. "Whenever the day came for Elkanah to sacrifice, he would give portions of the meat to his wife Peninnah and all her sons and daughters. But to Hannah he gave a double portion because he loved her, and the Lord had closed her womb. Because the Lord had closed Hannah's womb, her rival kept provoking her in order to irritate her. So here we go. We have Hannah. Hannah is Samuel's mother. And her husband would go up and, give sacrifice. And he'd give portions of the meat. Now, when they would do sacrifice, what they do is they would sacrifice the cow, and part of the meat, what would happen is it would kind of go into this pot, and the priest would stick their fork in, and they were supposed to, whatever happened to come out, that was their portion. And then some of the meat would actually be given to the people as well, except for like the parts that were designated for God. Those had to go to God. And the portion of meat that Elkanah would receive, he would give part of the meat to his wife, Peninnah, who had sons and daughters, who had given him children. But Hannah, her womb had been closed up by the Lord, so she had not been able to have children up until this point. And he loved her, and he knew that was something that she wasn't happy about, because again, back then it was a sign of pride to be able to have children, to be able to give your husband children. And here you have a case where he has two wives. So you have one wife who's able to give him children, and one wife who's not able to give him children. So of course, this other wife that she sees as a rival, because, well, she can give kids, but Hannah can't. So Hannah's kind of has this rivalry between her and Peninnah, and Peninnah is actually provoking her and irritating Hannah, which makes it worse. So it's not only bad enough that Hannah is unable to conceive, but the other wife, Peninnah, is actually provoking her, is actually trying to irritate her, and that's just making things worse. It's making Hannah feel worse about not having to have kids, because again, this is a thing of honor, a thing of pride to have these children. So let's see what Hannah's response is here. Let's see how Hannah responds to what's going on. So we continue on. We go to verse 10 through 20. And this is what Hannah does, and this is one thing that really makes her a great mother right here. Because when things aren't good, when things aren't to her liking, this is what she does. When we start in verse 10, this is what we read. In her deep anguish, Hannah prayed to the Lord, weeping bitterly, as she made a vow, saying, Lord Almighty, if you will only look on your servant's misery and remember me, do not forget your servant, but give her a son, then I will give him to the Lord for all the days of his life, and no razor will ever be used on his head. As she kept on praying to the Lord, Eli observed her mouth, and was praying in her heart. Her lips were moving, but her voice was not heard. Eli thought she was drunk, and said to her, How long are you going to stay drunk? Put away your wine. Not so, my lord, Hannah replied. I am a woman who is deeply troubled. I have not been drinking wine or beer. I was pouring out my soul to the Lord. Do not take your servant for a wicked woman. I have been praying here out of my great anguish and grief. Eli answered, Go in peace, and may the God of Israel grant you what you have asked of him. He said, May your servant find favor in your eyes. Then she went her way and ate something, and her face was no longer downcast. Early the next morning they rose and worshipped before the Lord, and went back to their home at Ramah. Elkanah made love to his wife Hannah, and the Lord remembered her. In the course of time, Hannah became pregnant and gave birth to a son. She named him Samuel, saying, Because I asked the Lord for him. And the footnote here saying, it sounds like the Hebrew for heard by God. So the name, she names him based off the word for heard by God. So that's kind of an amazing thing right here, is Hannah could do all kinds of stuff in retaliation. I mean, she has this other wife, this kind of rival wife of her husband, that is basically harassing her because she's unable to have kids. And she could try to do all kinds of things to get back at this other woman. But instead, what she does is she turns to God. She turns to God in her time of need. And that right there is an amazing thing right there for anyone to do. And it's a sign of a good mom too. A sign of a good mom is in that time of need, that time of trouble, they turn to God. Instead of turning to other things, they trust in God. They trust in God. They pray to God. They leave it in God's hands. And here we have this confirmation, because Eli first sees her and thinks she might be drunk. Thinks she's been drinking, is drunk, because her mouth is moving, nothing's coming out. Kind of thinking, okay, she might be a little drunk. She might be a wee bit drunk. But turns out she's not. She's actually praying in her heart. So her mouth is moving, but the words are actually in her heart and being, put before God. And Eli, when he finds out that, oh, she's not drunk, she's actually praying very deeply and praying from her heart, then he tells her to go home. Like, go home. What you've asked the Lord will be given to you. What you've asked the Lord is going to be given to you. So here we see that she goes home, and of course her and Elkanah, they make love, and sure enough, Hannah, who up to this point in time, could not have any kids. She could not conceive any kids. Now conceives and gives birth to the son that she asked God for. She gives birth to this son. And of course, this son is going to play a very important role in God's plan. Play a very important role in God's plan. This son is actually going to be the prophet Samuel. And of course, she names him Samuel because she asked the Lord for him, naming him a very similar way to the Hebrew word for heard by God. Because she recognized that this son that she gave birth to was because God heard her and gave this to her. So not only does she turn to God, but she's also recognizing that this son is a gift from God. This child is a gift from God. So now let's keep reading in this account here, because there's more to it. There's more to it than this. And it really speaks to the kind of woman that Hannah is and the kind of mother that she ends up being. So if we go to verse 21, and we continue there, because remember, Hannah promised that if the Lord would give her a son, if God would give her a son, he would be dedicated to him, to God for all of his days. So the son would be dedicated to the Lord for all of his days. And so now she's been given a son. And she has this promise that she made. So this is what Hannah does with the promise. Starting in verse 21, still in chapter 1 here. When her husband Elkanah went up with all his family to offer the annual sacrifice to the Lord and fulfill his vow, Hannah did not go. She said to her husband, "After the boy is weaned, I will take him and present him before the Lord, and he will live there always." "Do what seems best to you," her husband Elkanah told her. "Stay here until you have weaned him. Only may the Lord make good his word." The woman stayed at home and nursed her son until she had weaned him. After he was weaned, she took the boy with her young as he was, along with a 3-year-old bull, an ephah of flour, and a skin of wine, and brought him to the house of the Lord at Shiloh. When the bull had been sacrificed, they brought the boy to Eli. And she said to him, "Pardon me, my lord. As surely as you live, I am the woman who stood here beside you praying to the Lord. I prayed for this child, and the Lord has granted me what I asked of him. So now I give him to the Lord. For his whole life he will be given over to the Lord." And he worshipped the Lord there. So here we have a very sort of what would be a difficult thing to follow through on, because she's promised that if God gave her this son, that the son would be given to the Lord for all of his days. And so now she has this son. And sure enough, she holds true to this promise. She holds true to the promise here. She actually tells her husband, like, I'm not going to go with you because I have to wait till this boy has been weaned, till my son has been weaned, because I made a promise, and once he's been weaned, he's to be handed over to the Lord in service of the Lord for all of his days. And he knows what that means. That means basically young Samuel is going to be staying at the temple for all of his days. At the temple for the rest of his life, basically. So from the point of weaning and for the rest of his days, he is going to be at the temple and not with his family. So this mother, who has been unable to have any children, has his first child and goes through with the promise to leave the young boy with Eli at the temple. Or at this point, at the tabernacle, because there was no temple at this point. But to leave him at the tabernacle, at the place of worship, for the Lord for all of his days, essentially leave her son there. She makes that choice. She follows through with the promise. She follows through with the promise. She keeps her word to God. She recognizes that this child was from God. This child was from God. God gave this to her, and she's recognizing that, holding on to that recognition, and following through with what she promised would happen. It's all part of God's plan here. All part of God's plan. And you'd think that would be like the end of the story right here, the end of this this historical account, but no, there's actually more to it, because Hannah is a wonderful mother. She never forgets her son, never forgets him, but always remembers him. And as we continue on, now we need to go to chapter 2. Go to chapter 2 and starting in verse 19. Because now we have this account here of what Hannah does every year when they go up for the annual sacrifice. When they go up for the annual sacrifice, this is what they do. This is what she does here. There you go. Each year his mother made him a little robe and took it to him when she went up with her husband to offer the annual sacrifice. Eli would bless Elkanah and his wife, saying, May the Lord give you children by this woman to take the place of the one she prayed for and gave to the Lord. And they would go home, and the Lord was gracious to Hannah. She gave birth to 3 sons and 2 daughters. Meanwhile, the boy Samuel grew up in the presence of the Lord. So here we have Hannah, who keeps her son in her heart and remembers her first son, even though he's staying with Eli at the place where they worship and give sacrifice. He's staying there with Eli to be raised in service to God. But she remembers him. And so every year when they have to go up there, now remember, it's not like nowadays where they could just hop in some quick mode of transportation and be there in no time. It was a long travel. It was a long travel. It would take quite a while to get there. So it was a trip you made like when you had to. So they made the trip once a year for the sacrifice. And since they were going there, she would bring him like a small robe. Make him a small robe. Made him a little robe. She actually would make him a small robe, a robe about his size, and take it to him every year. She still loved her son, even though he was given to be raised in service to God. She loved him. She loved him so much that she kept giving him a new robe every year because, young boy is going to grow out of his clothes pretty quickly, right? All your parents out there who have had any children, you know how children grow out of clothes and how fast they do. How quickly you need to buy new clothes for them because they've grown. So every year she's bringing him a new robe, likely like one a little bit bigger each time because he's grown. Maybe a little on the big side, so that way as he grows, it'll actually start to fit him a little better, give some room for growth. But she is actually making this robe and taking it to him every year, remembering that God did this for her. God gave her this. God gave her this son. And this son is still her son, still very much loved by her. So she remembers him, gives him a new robe every year, all because, again, she's a great mother. A great mother. And she's blessed. She's blessed because of this, because she ends up having more children. In fact, 3 sons and 2 daughters. 3 sons and 2 daughters. That is a blessing for her right there, because again, back then, having children, especially having quite a few children, was considered to be an honor. In fact, women wanted to have children for their husband. They wanted to be able to have all these children. And she was blessed in that way. She was very much blessed in that way. So here is this wonderful mother. Wonderful mother who couldn't conceive, who put it in God's hands. And when she finally did have that son, recognized that that child is from God. That child is from God. Followed through on her promise to God. And still remembered her son, still remembered him every year when they'd go up for that sacrifice to make sure to bring him that new robe that she would make, not just go out and purchase, but she would make by hand. A handmade gift from a mother every year. They would go up and they would see their son. The great mother right here. The great mother right here. And honestly, that's the mark of good moms. Right there. That is the mark of a good mom. We'll go back to close up here. But the mark of a good mom is one who trusts in God. They put their trust in God. Get to my notes here. There we go. They put their faith in God, their trust in God. That no matter what happens, that's where they recognize that the blessings come from, that everything they have comes from, and they turn to God. They put their trust in Him. Another sign of a good mother does what she promises. She makes a promise and she follows through. Makes a promise and follows through. Stays true to her word, much like like God would do. Because if God says it, He does it. And a good mother, if she says she's going to do it, she does it. Stays true to the promise that is made. Another sign of a good mother is recognizing that children are a gift from God. That children are a gift, to her from God. And even if you can't have children, it doesn't mean God doesn't love you or loves you less than a mother who does have children. It's just that if you have children, those children are a gift from God. They're given to you by God. And recognizing that responsibility that comes with that knowledge, that knowing these children are from God. And a good mother does that. A good mother recognizes that children come from God. She has those children because God gave them to her, and shows that responsibility of raising them correctly, raising them to know right from wrong, to know God, to know His salvation, And a mother also remembers her children, remembers her children, no matter how old they get, how far they move away from home, how far away from home they happen to be. She always remembers her children. Always remembers her children. Just like Hannah, even though Samuel was given over to be raised with Eli, to be raised in service to God, she remembered him, would make for him a new robe every year. And just like her, all the good mothers out there remember their children. Remember their children. And that is a sign of a good mother. The sign of a good mother right there. Those things right there. Trusts God, does what she promises, recognizing that her children are given to her by God, and remembers her children. All signs of a great mom right there. All signs of a great mom. So Hannah is a wonderful mother, and telling her story to kind of showcase what makes a good mom. And this Mother's Day, we honor mothers, because when we honor mothers, we honor the good mothers out there who are raising their children right, raising them to know right from wrong, raising them to know what is good to be doing, guides them as they grow, recognizes them for the cherished gifts that they are, puts their trust in God. We recognize that the mothers are doing all of that, doing it right. We're actually honoring God by doing so. We're honoring God by doing so. Because God is the one these good mothers are actually turning to and following. And he's the one that actually gives us these good mothers also, as much as children are a gift from God. Mothers are also a gift, from God. These good mothers that raise their children right, that are, actually providing for their kids that care and that comfort, and actually remembering their kids, and treating their children correctly, punishing their children when they need to be punished, administering that discipline so they can know right from wrong. All those things, again, mother doing it correctly, we honor that because it honors God. It honors God to honor mothers. It's like when we get to Father's Day, same thing. Honoring a good father that's doing it correctly, that raises their children correctly, is honoring God. Same thing with honoring mothers here today. We're honoring mothers because doing so honors God. They're not putting mothers above God, but we're honoring mothers because, again, these good mothers are a gift from God, just like the children are a gift from God. This Mother's Day, I wish all the mothers out there a very happy, very wonderful Mother's Day. Hopefully, in some way, you can at least talk to your children. If you're in a state that's allowing at least small gatherings, at least maybe you can actually see your children today and actually spend time with them. But if not, hopefully at least you can call them on the phone. They can call you on the phone. They can talk to you on the phone. At least in some capacity, spend some time with those children, and your children spend some time with you. And if you have a mom out there who's still around, or a grandma, even if your grandma's still around, call them up, say Happy Mother's Day. Honor them for doing a good job raising you, or raising your parents to know how to raise you correctly. In either case, call them up, say Happy Mother's Day, wish them a wonderful Mother's Day. Because doing so is going to honor God. Because just as much as the children are a gift from God, as much as children are a gift from God, good mothers are a gift from God as well. And that mother's love, that the ability to be a good mother, it comes from God. It comes from God. Let's honor all the mothers, and I wish to say thank you to all the mothers out there for raising those children, for loving them, for teaching them right from wrong, for disciplining them. Thank you so much. Happy Mother's Day. Thank you very much. And hopefully you have a wonderful Mother's Day today and get to spend time with your children and be there for them. And hopefully they actually do call you. So remember, if you've got a mom out there, call her up. Call up your mom, talk to her, wish her a happy Mother's Day. Or even a grandmother too. Wish her a happy Mother's Day. Very much. I see the comments have been going. Well, I've been preaching here, so let's actually go to the comments, and I'll read some of the comments here. All right, so we say Renee came in and said happy Mother's Day. Hello, Renee. How are you doing? And the Kathy Walker, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. That includes Stephanie and Tracy, who are mothers to their fur babies, and anyone else who is a fur baby mom. Yes, I've got Yzma, one of our fur children, on our lap. She turned 16 this year, so that's kind of a cool thing. All right, so we have see, Connie, how many times do we make promises to the Lord but haven't followed through? What a remarkable mother/person she is. Exactly. How many times do we try to bargain with God? We say, God, if you do this, I promise to do that, and then it happens. And how many people actually follow through with what they promised? How many people actually follow through with what they promised to do? And the fact that she did, like she gave up that son that she was looking forward to having, was hoping to have and prayed for, and she followed through with doing so. That's amazing. That is just, that's an amazing follower of God, let alone a mother. I mean, that's amazing on both counts, honestly. And then let's see what else we have. Thanks for all said happy Mother's Day, same. And hello, Autumn, how you doing? How you doing today? That's like, I didn't grow fast. Most of the time the clothes outgrew me. Oh no. No. I mean, you are small in stature. I mean, you grew slower than most people. That's the way it went. That's okay. That's okay. Let's see. Lord gave them more sons, but they went astray. How sad. Yeah. Yeah, and I know the sons of Eli end up going astray as well, and then the sons of Samuel, actually, Samuel's sons end up going astray also. So it's unfortunately sometimes even when you raise children correctly, they still they rebel and go far away from how you raise them sometimes. So when you raise a child up in the way they should go, they'll not stray from it, but sometimes they do their own thing. And most of the time, no, they won't stray, but sometimes you do all you can, and they just do what they do. So happy Mother's Day to my mom in heaven. Yes, if you have a mom in heaven, just wish them a happy Mother's Day as well. Then what else we have? Miss my mom. Yeah, I know my wife misses her mom very much. But at least if you had her and got to enjoy her, definitely remember her and what she did for you. That's the best way you can honor, is just hold on to that memory. Remember, think about what she did for you and how she raised you right, and just hold on to that. Definitely hold on to that. Love you. You and Stephanie are a blessing. Love you too, Mom. Love you too. See. I'm just fine. Hi, everyone. Hello, Melissa. And if you're there, Cirillo also. Hello and welcome. text from my son. Does that count? Yes. I mean, it does count. I mean, maybe he'll actually call you too. But if he texts you, at least that's a way. It's the way people like to communicate nowadays. Is a lot of it's through text as opposed to actually calling. But I mean, if he at least texts you, that's a good sign. Hopefully he calls you later, but definitely. Steph, I didn't grow. I mean, you did grow, just not. I mean, from birth to now you grew. You just didn't grow very much. That's all. Happy Mother's Day to my mom and stepmom and mother-in-law, all in heaven. Aw. Yes, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers in heaven. All the mothers who are in heaven. They're missed greatly, but they're very much remembered. Great things come in small packages. Exactly, just like Tony says. Good things come in small packages. And I married you, so I recognize that great things come in those small packages. My mom has been in heaven 60 years. Oh, yeah, that's a good while. And they said they're very much missed. They're very much missed. And just remember what they did. Hold on to that. Remember what they did, and that's the best you can do right there. Oh, Eli's son, not Hannah. Yeah, it's okay. That's all right. that's quite all right. Yeah, Hannah's other children, we don't really hear much about them, but yeah, Eli's sons, they stray from God. So. And then Samuel's sons, they also stray from God and distort justice, and unfortunately, it's unfortunate, but it does happen. So also, again, I announced this during during the podcast yesterday, but I'll announce it here again. The 17th, which is a Sunday, we're going to start in-person services again, in line with the guidelines from the governor and from the state of Indiana, according to the governor's decree. And we do so, safely. So next Sunday, we will meet at the church. Now, it is recommended that if you are 65 and older, and if you are younger, but you have like health conditions that keep you at risk during this time of this virus, then that you stay at home and like watch online. And now the service itself isn't going to be streamed, but the Saturday before I will go live with the same sermon, so you'll hear that same sermon. You can watch either that Saturday or watch it the next day or any day after that, because once it's up on YouTube after I live stream it, it's there for anyone to watch at any point in time, which is really cool. You can watch it whenever you want to. And the other thing is, like, we'll be meeting in the gym with chairs spaced apart, so that way we kind of keep that social distancing. Obviously, if you're sick, stay at home. Don't come to the church. We don't want you to risk getting anyone else infected, obviously. But that's kind of like, no one really is going to be coming to church if they're sick, hopefully. But again, if you aren't feeling well, whether you have this virus or something else, stay home. It's going to be video-led worship only. Again, just less equipment, like microphones being like passed around and used. I'll be the one doing any like communion messages or even like announcements, which we won't have any announcements, and like prayer requests, all that kind of stuff. It'll be like just me. That way, again, less people passing around microphones and like using the same microphone, and also less stuff to sanitize as well, because it's a lot of stuff they have to keep cleaning between, like clean all the microphones, and the no coffee and no donuts for a while, because again, they want, according to state recommendations, they want us to not be passing anything out or having any like self-service food stations or coffee stations. So yeah, no coffee, no donuts for a while, no bulletins for a while. So unfortunately, Tracy, I won't have any bulletins for you to fold, but as soon as we have bulletins, I'm going to be counting on you to fold them very much. And I appreciate that, Tracy, that you do that. And I appreciate everyone as well for being here. And so at least for the first Sunday, anyone 65 and older or with underlying health conditions is recommended to stay home. The 24th, the restriction loosens a little bit, where they say to just limit your exposure. So, I mean, at that point, it's kind of like up to you whether you want to come or not, whether you feel safe coming or not. We're taking all kinds of precautions to keep you safe. But again, I mentioned this last night. I mentioned this again today. These are the guidelines, and again, it's temporary. It's just for the time being while this whole thing is a concern. And once it's not a concern, we can kind of get back into how we used to do things. But for now, we've got guidelines in place. I mean, offering plate won't be passed. It'll be a box in the back. You just drop your stuff in the box, and there you go. So Don has his own mic. Yeah, but the other mics too, is like after each use, it's having to sanitize all the mics that have been used. So like Don has his own, and that's cool. But it's all the other microphones too, and it's just, yeah, it's a bit easier to do the video worship and have like one person doing basically doing like your announcements, and like when we do have communion, do a communion message, all that kind of stuff. Are masks preferred? Masks are suggested but not required, put it that way. So if you feel like when you come you feel safer wearing a mask, then please do. I mean, it's up to you. If you don't want to wear a mask, you don't have to, but you could come with masks, couldn't they? They could if they, again, that's if they want. On the 24th, if they want to come with masks, then that would be just fine. That'd be just fine. So if they wanted to come even without a mask, that's fine too. But again, it's just take safe steps. You don't have to wear a mask, but if you want to wear a mask, absolutely. 11 years between my brother and I. He was older, graduated in May, passed in November. Oh wow. Kelly has been gone 54 years. She was a senior in high school with one older brother and 4 younger siblings. Oh yeah, wow, that's a long time. It's definitely a long time. So yeah, like the video worship is, again, it's a temporary thing. Once we can slowly lift guidelines, and we can kind of work out how to do things. And again, I'll be meeting with the elders between now and guidelines being like kind of loosened even more. And so as we kind of work things out and discuss things, and kind of see how this works out, we're kind of playing it very safe for now at the moment, and that's really the best way to do it, just to keep everyone safe. So as things change, we'll discuss it further and say, okay, can we do more stuff? Can we do other things? I mean, that's kind of where we're at. But for now, it's pretty much just everyone, as you're able to come as the guidelines suggest, you can come, stay distant. I mean, there's no meet and greet like we used to do. Basically, I'll prompt you to just turn and say hi to people from your seats, and that's it. And that's all we're gonna have for a while, because again, keeping people safe. But again, as we feel it's we're able to, we'll kind of put all these things back in place. So that's just putting it out there again in case anyone missed it from last time. That's where we're going to be going for now. And I will be working from home, at least for the time being. Again, until it's less of a concern for me to be in the office and someone coming in while I'm in the office and possibly bringing this virus in with them. I'll be working from home, so that's something I'll be doing. But yeah, we're heading in a direction of being able to meet. So yes, it's a good thing. We'll be able to slowly eventually meet in person. Eventually, we'll have Saturday service again, but for now, that's going to be being put off to the side until we get past the whole virus concern, or at least becomes less of a concern, and we kind of work it back in. But that will be coming back also, but it's just for now, it's off to the side. So, but yeah, that's pretty much all the announcements that I have. Obviously, we're not doing the youth barbecue this month like we used to because of everything going on, but I mean, rather be safe than try to do something like that. So, but yes, happy Mother's Day, and the Bill and possibly Kathy are also here. Welcome, Bill and Kathy. How you doing? Happy Mother's Day. Glad you're here. I don't know how long you've been here. Maybe you've been lurking, but welcome. Thanks, everyone. Love you all. Miss you. Yeah, love every one of you. Miss all of you. Definitely stay safe. Be safe out there, and have a wonderful Mother's Day. Like I said, if you have a mother out there that you can call her up. At the very least, if you can go see her, go see her. I mean, be safe about it. You know, keep the distance, but go see her. But if not, at least give her a call. Give her a call. Say Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Thank you very much for all you do, for all you continue to do for your kids. Thank you. We appreciate you, and we just recognize you today because you are a gift from God. You are truly a gift from God. So, anyone else have any other additional comments or anything else you want to put out there? And feel free to if you want. It's up to you. And definitely love all of you. Can't wait to start seeing everyone again. Suggestion, anybody that wants some uplifting and fun music to listen and watch. Mercy Me has some grabbing videos they have done, fun and uplifting. Absolutely. Mercy Me is definitely a good place. Had a video visit with my doctor this week. It'll be quite a while until I'll be able to come to church or go to stores, etc. And that's fine. That's fine. Like I said, at least you'll be, and you know, take doctor's recommendation. Take doctor's recommendation on if they recommend you stay home. I will be putting the sermon just like this. It'll be on Saturdays. I do have a question for everyone before you go. Before everyone goes. Now, I've been doing like the podcast on Saturday and the sermon on Sunday. Now, obviously, I'll be doing the sermon on Sunday. Question for you. Would you like me to keep doing the podcast? Where I do like go kind of focus on some uplifting scripture, focus on some like uplifting news events, and just kind of like talk about things and discuss things. Would you like me to keep doing that? Is that something you would like me to keep doing? I mean, it's a little bit different than the sermon. It's not like a full on sermon. It's just like an inspirational message. Talking about some inspiring or uplifting current events. And if you guys want me to continue that, I will continue that, and we'll kind of just work that onto a day that makes sense. But if you want me to continue that, Melissa says yes, please. Okay, Melissa likes that. And if feel free to chime in if you want me to keep that up. Bible study is gonna keep being online on Facebook, at least for the time being. Eventually, we'll be doing like in person and online, but for now, it's gonna be online only. That's another thing. See, I can still hear Mom answering the phone. Oh wow, yeah, that's things you remember about your parents. Things you remember about your parents. And that's the thing is like you remember like what they sound like, their voice. Carol says yes, continuing. Okay. Waiting for the day I can get a Tony hug again. Oh yeah. Steph's waiting for that too, Kathy. Steph says Tony gives the best hugs, so she's waiting for a Tony hug as well. And she likes my hugs also, and I'm able to give her hugs, but she likes Tony's hugs. She does, and so sounds like Tony is a great hugger. So hopefully one day everyone can enjoy a Tony hug. Love you all. Miss you. Love you too, Tracy. Miss you as well. Miss everyone. Kathy has surgery coming up soon. Let you know the date. Okay. Yeah, keep me informed, Bill. Let me know how it goes, and let me know the date also. We'll be praying for you, praying for her, praying for the doctors as well that she makes a full recovery, makes a good recovery. And yeah, feel free to let me know any prayer requests if you have them. I know we've been praying for a lot of people. I'd like to continue. It's a nice way to keep in touch. Okay, then I will continue the podcast. I will be doing it, and I'll figure out what day makes sense. I'll figure out. I was like, "Are you blushing, Tony?" Or everyone's embarrassing Tony here, pointing out how Tony is a great hugger. How he gives good hugs. Tony hugs for like Winnie the Pooh hugs. That does sound like a nice hug there, Renee. Sounds wonderful. I've been waiting a long time for that. Yeah, I imagine. With everything going on, probably been waiting quite a while. So, anyone else? He sure is. My nephew and his girlfriend do not have COVID. Nice. Excellent news, Kathy. That's great. Don't know what they have, but it's a praise at least. Hey, they don't have the COVID, so that's good. We kind of suggest keep the podcast. Okay, so I will keep it up. We'll keep doing it, and we'll make it something that everyone can enjoy and have put it out there that people are enjoying it. We'll keep doing it even once we actually have the two services. I will keep up the podcast, keep that going, and be doing that kind of stuff. So I think that would be kind of a fun thing to do if we keep doing that. So anyway, anyone else have anything else to comment? Anything to put out there? Thank you for that update, Kathy. By the way, about your nephew. I'm glad to hear that. It's always a good thing to know that this virus going around, that anyone who has a scare they might have it, turns out they don't, and hopefully they get better and they get well and can be among us again, or be with family again, I should say. So, and I can't wait again for all of you to be among us, all you be able to go to the actual building and where we have the service and actually be together again completely. But be safe, play it safe, follow appropriate doctors' suggestions, and let's just keep this up. So anything else anyone wants to put forward before I close with a prayer? Feel free, anyone in the comments, if you want to mention anything, something you want me to pray over, feel free. I'll give it a few moments to people to type in the chat, because I know it takes a little while before I say it and you actually hear it and then type it in the chat. So it's always a little bit of a delay when you when doing this. You got Yzma on my lap right now, just purring away, laying down. He is so happy. So happy. And like always, keep everyone in your prayer. Especially, just pray that everyone be able to stay safe, to stay healthy, especially as we start opening things up again, start meeting in person again, that everyone is able to actually stay safe during this time, and that it doesn't cause like a huge increase in cases. MS is hurting really bad. Okay, so definitely be praying for you, Kathy, with your MS. Keep you in prayer that you can at least have some relief from that pain there. And everyone, feel free to keep these things in prayer. Yep. I figured that was Bill. I figured it was Kathy. So I appreciate the clarification. I very much appreciate that. especially when you have two people typing on like kind of commenting under one account. It's like, yeah, it's always good to have clarification. Take care. Hope to see you soon. Absolutely. Take care and hope to see everyone soon. Why don't we go ahead and close with prayer then? And again, happy Mother's Day. Be safe. Thank you very much, all the moms out there. And let's go to the Lord in prayer. Lord, we thank you so much for this day. We thank you for all the moms out there that have raised children, who are raising them, well, and actually caring for their children. And Lord, we just thank you so much, for all the moms that have done it right, that are doing it right. We thank you so much that you are with them, that you help us to honor them this day, and in honoring them, to so honor you. And we again thank you so much for giving us those great moms. Thank you so much for giving them to us and putting them in our lives. And we thank you so much just for the fact that we have them. And Lord, we lift up so many needs to you. Kathy with the surgery coming up and the MS, and we pray that the surgery goes well, that doctors are able to perform that surgery well, that you're with them, you guide their hands and just help her to heal. And we pray with her and the MS and the pain she's in as well, that happens to be relieved, and that she has that relief from that pain. And Lord, also praise you for that great news that Kathy's nephew and girlfriend, they don't have the MS. Not MS, but they don't have the corona, and they don't have the virus going around, that they're healthy, that they're able to heal from whatever they have, but they don't have to worry about the coronavirus, that they are negative for that. And we thank you so much for that great news, for that praise. And Lord, we pray that everyone out there who does have the virus, pray for people who are recovering from that, recovering from other ailments like cancer, and those who are still out of work during this time as the state slowly reopens, that you help keep them safe, you help keep them going. And Lord, we thank you so much for all you're doing, in our country, all you're doing in this state and in this church. And Lord, help us to stay safe as we move towards meeting again and actually being together in person. We thank you so much for that, all you keep doing. And Lord, just again, thank you for being the amazing God, being the great healer, for being the one we can turn to, and again, for giving us those wonderful moms. And lift up all these great moms to you, that you give them a wonderful Mother's Day. Again, thank you so much for all you're doing. In Jesus' name, amen. So, continued safety in the country, absolutely. Want to keep this whole country safe, the world. I think from what I know from friends I have in England, their stay at home is supposed to be lifted soon. So I think they're kind of moving towards getting everything back up and running again. It's really a tricky situation because getting things running again means there's going to be more exposure. So there's a chance that the cases could escalate. At the same time, people aren't working, so you gotta get people working again. But yeah, definitely, it's good that people are going to be working again, but hopefully we pray that everyone's able to stay safe and everyone embraces these precautions and takes them on for a while. But thank you everyone for being here. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your week. We will have Bible study online on the Facebook Bible study page, the group. So, and feel free to invite people. If you know someone that would actually like to be part of that, feel free to, if you're part of that group, send them an invite. If you're part of that group, you're able to invite others. I do have it as a members only thing, and only by invite, because you could potentially get internet trolls, which are people who come in just to cause trouble and just to stir things up. So to prevent that, it's invite only, but I can invite people. Anyone who's part of the group can invite people. So feel free to invite anyone to that group. We'll be doing that again, continue on, but we'll be starting that. I don't know what we're studying yet because we finished Zechariah, so that's done. But I will let you know in the group what we're going to be studying once I figure it out. But yeah, have a great rest of your week. We'll see everyone in the Bible study group if you're there. And if not, we'll see you either for the sermon on Saturday or at the service on Sunday. So thank you very much. Have a great rest of your week. And happy Mother's Day again. And thank you to all the moms out there.